A very warm welcome to the show. Now, former governor of Imo State and presidential aspirant of the All Progressives Congress, Rochas Okorocha, on Tuesday evening made a dramatic appearance at the Transcorp Hilton venue of the presidential screening of aspirants of the party. Now, Okorocha, who was granted bail a few hours earlier by the Federal High Court, was at the venue to participate in the screening exercise on its very last day. Now, as soon as Okorocha stepped into the hotel lobby, chanting and party songs filled the air, with supporters commending his courage for allegedly battling his political opponent. Okorocha eventually met with the 7-man screening panel and is said to be among the aspirants to be cleared for the primary election. And what lies ahead for the APC amidst President Muhammadu Buhari's call on the governors of the party to allow him choose his successor. To be joined in the studio by the man in the eye of the storm himself, Senator Rochas Okorocha, who is a presidential aspirant of the governing All Progressives Congress, former governor of Imo State, and a serving senator representing Imo West. So good to have you.
Good to have you. Thank you.
I miss all the drama. A lot of Nigerians are surprised seeing you. I mean,
back alive.
Yeah. And so, what's the experience been like? I mean, in the last 24 hours.
Well, excellent, good. First, I'd like to thank Nigerians, actually, for the kind of show of love and support and prayers. I never knew issues like this could trigger such love and empathy on my side. So I feel a sense of duty and responsibility to say to Nigerians, thank you. But this is behind me. It's simply a small comma in my political life, but it's not a full stop.
Interesting.
And after that comma, I'm sure sentences will follow. So, but so far so good. I don't think there's anything. I can't even imagine it's ever happened again. And I'm looking forward, and I'm more concerned about this nation. You know, whatever price that is worth paying for it is worth paying for it. I'm concerned about this nation being great, a prosperous nation. A united, prosperous nation. That's my dream. So that mentality of mine seems to overshadow every other thing
that's happened to you.
Well, yes.
It's interesting indeed. If you look at the political playbook of Nigeria, some people say it's part of the drill. As for you to emerge as a leader, you must be in one way or the other, you know, going through this kind of phase where you'd have to go to prison or you'd have to be charged to court or just for one thing or the other. We've seen Obafemi Awolowo having that experience, Nnamdi Azikiwe and all of that. Do you think that's what's happening to you, or indeed you have issues to actually settle with the EFCC?
I think more that to say that there are certain things that will happen to you in life and you better go spiritual, because there's no carnal explanation, no human explanation that can fit into it. But rather say, all things work it for good for them that love God and who are called according to his purpose. So whatever you meet on the line of struggle to a point of leadership to help the people, that's such a price you must pay. And that's how I feel about it. Because I could say it's uncalled for, really. It's something that is not worth it. And it's not what the drama that it is. For whatever it is, it's not a good image for all of us as Nigerians, as a nation.
Yeah, and I don't want to go into the details.
Yes.
But a lot of Nigerians thought that once you get into the ruling All Progressives Congress, all your sins were forgiven. So they are also shocked that you're in the APC and such a thing could be happening to a ranking member of the APC who was involved even in the formation of the party.
No, I don't think so. I think APC needs to show good example. I think if there's anybody to be punished first, should be an APC member who has committed offense. If you commit an offense, that's what is important. But so being an APC is not an immunity for you. But I don't hold that against APC. I don't hold it against anybody. But I just assume it's something that just happened. Maybe I could put it to a communication gap, if I have to make everybody feel comfortable.
Okay.
So don't go
including the EFCC, because these issues are still in court, so we don't want to go into them. But here you were making a dramatic appearance at the Transcorp Hilton venue of the 7-member presidential screening committee, and all your supporters went agog. Tell us about your experience. Once you got in here and you saw what happened way up there when you had to go face the John Oyegun-led 7-member presidential screening committee. What were the questions? How was the ambience like?
I think what you saw yesterday, this whole thing that went on, a lot of crowd that enveloped the entire Hilton, could be said to be the expectation. They thought I was going to miss the screening. Yesterday was the last day. So if I didn't come for that, probably I would have missed out as a presidential aspirant. So people, anxiety I was building up. But if you recall, I was just here about 10 o'clock, or something minutes past 10, and the committee had actually folded their papers. So you could see that I have this unique thing happening with me in my political life. That the day I was also declared, and similar thing happened. I was, in my declaration, an announcement has been made, I've been taken to court. I was the only first person in the history of Nigeria that was not issued a certificate after winning the election. And they said I got under gunpoint. So I couldn't be sworn in when others were sworn in, so I couldn't participate in the selection of principal officers. And I remember I was the first person in Nigeria to start the issue of inconclusive election. It started with me. Also, when the struggle not to allow me to become a governor became so hot, and the INEC official reported inconclusive. It was the first time in the history of Nigeria. So with me, a lot of things comes up, and if you recall, this kind of drama has taken place. You might remember I was arrested in Imo State in one of my wife's properties, and I was dragged to a police station, an immediate past governor. Remember my in-law, which also was kidnapped from the church, and so everything has been happening, you know. So you can't ask why, and sometimes it happens.
It looks like you have several inconclusive issues.
So I think it has become part and parcel, and I'm getting used to it. So what you saw yesterday was people really thinking that I will miss the screening exercise, and when I came, it was like a hula balloon, big noise. People were
and I
really
want you
excited.
to tell us about the screen when you got into the panel. How was it like?
Well, the panel were quite wonderful. I didn't even know. They said if I had missed it, they would have made a different arrangement for me. I didn't quite know that. I thought I've lost it out. But what is important, I had the opportunity to tell the panel my vision, and I simply put it this way: that I'm not one of those who are in politics for what I can get, but what I can give. I'm not in politics for primitive accumulation of wealth or to be known or to be popular. God has blessed me with all this. But I'm in politics to make a change. And my passion and love for this country is what is driving me crazy to go through all these rough roads of life. If not, Rochas would have no business in it. If others have, I don't have business. But I think I have this one idea, or this idea, or they believe that I actually understand the problems of this country.
And what are the problems and the solutions? Because a lot of Nigerians are interested in the solutions.
And the problem of this country is what I believe others don't know. And if I know anybody who knows it, I'll quit. And I'm coming to that. And if you see here, when people read about all the statistics, I'm sure you must have been part of it. I watch you a lot. And people say, oh, the per capita income, Nigeria is a terrorist country, Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world, we are 22% inflation rate, 33% inflation rate, we have gone, GDP has dropped and all that, you know, all this mentioning. But nobody has been able to address the causative, and that is the disease. And
what was that? Because you still haven't said it.
Well, I'm coming. If I build it up, I'll tell you.
Okay.
That's why it makes it more interesting. And I'm trying to hang you up to see how you can. But people have been able to address the symptoms, not the disease. And everybody address the symptoms without knowing how. But I'll tell you the how now. You know your problem. You know your problem. Let me how to put it again. Let me say Nigeria is carrying overload. Let me use a word that will be more common to you. In other words,
on the streets.
You have a little car, of Toyota car, that is carrying a 30-ton cement. It can move. There's a relationship between population and wealth. In 1980, Nigeria was able to move on, or we're fine. If you come out of university, they buy you a car. What happened? Because the wealth at that time was matching the population. Well, barely 50-something billion people, and the dollar was 78 kobo to $1. We were better off. You could buy in London and get change in Naira, buy in US and get change in Naira. What happened? What has changed? What simply have changed is that you allowed your population to be growing in a geometrical progression, and while your weight is static and sometimes reducing in arithmetical progression. So the difference between this population and wealth is what is called poverty.
So we have population problem.
It's not population problem. You don't have population problem. Nigeria population is perfect, but you have wealth problem. You need to create wealth. So it's just like when you know, that's why people are not planning well. Like you, for instance, now. I'm sure you have a kid with some, a wife with some few kids or something. Now, whatever your salary is now could help you. If these salaries remain static, and tomorrow your children have children and they have no job living with you, hunger will set in. Nothing has changed. It's called an apparent poverty. That's actually what no, let me finish so you can understand.
Okay.
So there's only one point agenda in this country for God's sake, ability to create wealth. And if I see someone who can do it, I resign.
Yeah.
And
Nigeria actually has a revenue problem, and I'm interested to know what you told the committee on how you can address these issues if you become the flag bearer of the APC.
If I become the flag bearer, if I become the president of Nigeria.
Of course, before you become the president of Nigeria, you have to, because you have an Atiku Abubakar to face if you become the flag bearer, for example,
there are two questions
and several others.
The question is, what will I do to become the presidential candidate? That's
Yes.
one. And what will I do to face the president, other political parties, and what I would do when I emerge as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. These are three segments that are passing through now. And so I don't know which question you're asking. If you're asking about Atiku, PDP,
no,
issue,
that comes later.
or
but
you can talk about
you
this.
will
But
have to tell me what you told the panel, the presidential screening panel.
I just simply told you that.
On how
I told the people that I shocked them. I said, if we don't act quickly under the present situation, which our ugly condition points out to us, by getting somebody with the requisite vision, not ambition, passion, to create wealth for this country, dollar is going to go $1 to 1,300 by 2003 December. Now, bag of rice will go to 100,000, and worker salary will mean 30,000. So, what is your problem with creation of wealth? When there are too many people chasing small wealth, that is what you see. That's the hunger, hate, the quarrels, tribalism, poverty, Boko Haram, agitation. That's where it centers. You should have asked me. Let me tell you how wealth is created. Now, what we need to do is to call forth our land and develop the resources of our land, period, that engages us to become the productive sector of the economy. I can share this as a lecture.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually do that. We all know that we have a revenue problem, but how to solve it? What are the indices that you're looking at that you can combine together if you become president to help the country get out of this challenge, major challenge?
First and foremost, we built a high wall around our economy. I'll explain. The high wall we built around the economy, which is called systematic economic colonialism, which was our colonial mentality. That's how we're still operating. We need to lower this fence and allow people to flow in. We need to make this nation attractive so other nations can marry its economy. Because the only way to go is what is called OPM, other people's money. Other nations' idea, and ONI, OPM, other nations' idea, other people's money, technological transfer. There's nothing magical about it. But you know, we create a lot of immigration laws that is so, we create a lot of laws about our financial crime, we create a lot of laws that scare people. Right now, everybody's like paperization, you know, nobody's doing the real thing. We just do paperwork and get away. Nigeria is fine with it, if you don't bring anything. Let me give an example. As a president, this central area of Abuja is, for God's sake, 2 million jobs waiting, undeveloped. And this is over $2 trillion business in this country, this central area. But look at how we have done with the land. We give land to somebody who can develop land, and he keeps the land and keep waiting until it develops. But I'm sure there's a condition you give to people today. About $500 billion will come from UAE, from to develop the land here and jobs.
Rochas Okorocha, you have been a serial presidential contestant. A lot of Nigerians are interested in knowing why you think this time around you can get the APC presidential ticket.
Well, let me tell you. I like the word serial. I like the word serial. It's passion. That's what we call serial. Passion, deep passion. If you know how my body bubbles about this and how I see the problem, I can solve it. But some people are telling me stories I can't understand. It tinkers with my mentality. So it's a passion that you see. I believe I can change it. I've done that for myself as a person. I'm an engineer of ideas. I create wealth. That's what I'm saying. But the point we are making is my chances is simply, it's possible. Because the time I ran with our dear President Buhari, that understanding that time was President should come to the north. If you ask the likes of Alero, Bafarawa, and all this. At that time, not Wamanko, some of them, they will tell you that at that time, I was a shining star at that time, but
until you became the governor of Imo State.
Yes.
And a lot of Nigerians have a very low profiling of you after your governorship in Imo State.
It's not true.
And some Nigerians are saying that was your real leadership test and you were unable to present Imo State among the Committee of States in Nigeria as one that can actually stand as a shining light.
That's why
what do you tell your critics?
That's why you journalists are not the best of it, because you need to know what's called investigative journalism.
Well, I have been to Imo State myself, and I followed some of the things, the challenges that you had with Emeka Ihedioha before we eventually...
No, what I've done.
Yes.
Let me guide you.
Okay, go ahead.
If you have been to Imo State and truly, as you stop at the airport, you see the International Cargo Airport. It was built by me. Now, as you drive out of the airport, just by the left, you see the Air Force Military Hospital. I built that. As you get to that Nazda, you see a big roundabout, a road dualized into the city with Akachi, where you have the Akachi. That
was the hand of
God
and all
those
of
roads, those are new roads. It wasn't in existence. So if you go there and see the court, one of the best high court in Nigeria was built by me, by my administration. You go and see the police headquarters. Next, the best in this country, outside this one here, was built by me. Even the prison headquarters. I built over 30 hospitals, 27 of them standing. And I did more than 1,000 kilometers of roads. So what did you see? If you see those 4 lanes, 8 lanes roads, I did them all.
Well, I visited, including the university you had that you put in place in your local government area.
Oboko?
Yes. And
you went to Oboko?
I mean, I was there. Yes, Easter Palm University. And when I got there, before we could actually get there, there was this road that you have this bridge that was, and the bridge collapsed. And I kept saying it, that people were saying that you tried to actually create some form of wealth, create some form of development, but you're giving it to contractors who could not provide good roads, and some of the jobs done were substandard. How could someone who has been a governor, 2-time governor, have such being said about him, and now you want to be president?
But have I answered your question? You're saying a different thing now. No. I thought some people were saying
it's still part of it, the leadership test.
Wait, my friend, some people said he did nothing. That was the first thing. Now, I started doing the things I did. Now you have come to standard now. We can talk to you. Maybe you are right where you saw that particular thing. That's a federal road to start with. That's a federal road where you saw that broken bridge leading to Idato South. That was a federal road. And what happened was an erosion issue at that place. So it can happen to anywhere. It's not a substandard job at all. And I opened up the city of Owerri, city of Okigwe. I introduced the first free education in Nigeria from private university for 8 years. I maintained the best security in that part of the world. So what you hear is substandard. What makes it substandard? Go and check the International Cargo Airport. In fact, go and ask the office of the vice president when they come to commission it and what fans said. So it's not true. How about the flyover which has been shut down inside Owerri city and it's not being used because it's alleged to be substandard? That is political. Nobody wants to give me credit. The first flyover in Imo was built by me. Second flyover, the first tunnel, second tunnel, I did all that. When Emeka Ihedioha came, it was so funny. And they don't want to give me credit. They even pulling down some of the things I've done. You know what they said? They said, what do you call it? In the Nigeria Institute of Engineers said the flyover is weak.
Yes, I remember
I couldn't believe because I had issue with those departments as a governor. How could you say that? And that was built by an Irish company. One of the best flyovers. Now, even if it's weak, is it for 30 tons? I say, go and put 100 trailers and let anyone fall. Then I resign from politics. Put 1,000 trailers. Then if it is weak, can't human being pass? Can't even a small car, Toyota car pass? These are all politics. Forget about politics even more. Sometimes it could be dirty.
Now, Rochas, I'm saying this because before you became governor of Imo State, a lot of Nigerians believed that you were one of the shining lights of politicians from the eastern part of the country. But suddenly when you became governor of Imo State and you left with all these controversies, EFCC here and there, some of your supporters are actually perplexed and they say they don't understand you again. You would have been one of the best that they would have loved to vote for in the APC because of how you've lived in the north and in the south and you are like a bridge builder. What would you say to those people who believe that you've lost it in your political career?
Let me what I mean. I bring honesty to bear in governance. And most of Nigerian elites don't like politics of honesty. I'm too straight for people to understand. I'm too clean for it. And I'm being honest to you. I had Rochas Foundation. I was Rochas at that time without politics. I had schools all over the country. I had over 25,000 children, poor children.
Which won you many fans across the country. But that's not the truth. Even the popularity is still more. But within the political class, who feel you're a stumbling block to them, you can't be their fan. They can never say anything good about you. What will any Nigerian say bad about me? Let him say one thing. Do you know if I ask you, okay, what do they say bad about me? Tell me. If you give me the answer now, I conclude. The corruption is there, the
corruption,
the housing estates that you're building, collecting emo lands for yourself and your family, and all these allegations. I mean, they are in court right now with the EFCC and all of that, so I don't want us to go into that.
No, let me explain.
You and the Imo State government have issues to settle.
Let me say it. You know, anywhere you see a governor enjoying good name, the man who took over from him is at peace with him. Whenever you see a governor who predecessor is wanting to pull down, he will throw all kinds of shit, and none of them is true. And now, you must have come to realize that not even a single land was allocated to Rochas Okorocha or his family. Out of the 1,000 land that I gave out to people to create wealth for the nation, for Imo State. That's how Imo State was governed. They come to confess that it was a mistake. Let them show me one land. None. Now, the only land they gave was Rochas Foundation, which they said they want to take back. Rochas Foundation College, where poor children, orphans are going to school. Of what use will it be to if you take it back? So that is the truth. And you said housing estate. I don't know about any housing estate.
Yeah, I mean, one of the estates that's traced to your wife, and
yes,
close to the Akachi, hand of God, whatever, and all of that.
But my friend, can I tell you?
Very quickly, so that we're going to
Rochas was Rochas before government. Believe me. If I have to sound boisterous, which is not good on television, but be honest with you, I became smaller with politics. Because if you come here to Abuja, you can see there's no street you pass without seeing a Rochas hand in it. So what would Imo give me when I left 48 billion naira in Imo State with their free education? Okay, let the whole governors in the next 50 years do what I've done. Okay. No, wait, I'm coming, let me finish. So the truth is, what we are seeing there is politics at play, and it's still continuing. And whenever you talk about EFCC, if I write any petition against you now, as clean as you are with your suit, I say you stole this, your laptop. You know what happened? EFCC will come here. And if they have anything, if they will come here with their siren and put red jacket and pick you up, you're innocent. The moment they drag you out of Hilton here, this man is a thief. And you end up there again, they say you're going to court. By the time you go to court or win or succeed, nobody will come back and remember how it all started. That's one law I think we must make. Okay. But that's why in my own time, as a president, I'll concentrate more on crime prevention than crime fighting. Because crime fighting
you've had this experience, and that's what I'm interested in coming back to now. As the APC is going into its presidential primary, I want to find out the chances of a Rochas Okorocha against a Bola Tinubu, a Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, a Rotimi Amechi, and like 2 or 3 others. I mean, there are 2 founding fathers who are seeking the APC, 3 founding fathers of the APC who are seeking the ticket of the party. Yourself, Rochas Okorocha, Ogbonnaya, and Bola Tinubu. What are the chances of a Rochas Okorocha against these others, and then, of course, some of the top contenders?
Can I be honest with you? I wouldn't have liked to go if I come here to start calling people's names. In Nigerian politics, it's not allowed, but America can call names. But here, people take it too personal. In fact, they might continue with this war until you go to the grave, because we're not mature about politics. But it will get to a point where we should be able to call each other and say, listen, what you can do more than myself? Tell me, and I tell you what I can do more than myself. That's the future of politics in Nigeria. But here, if you say it now, you abuse...
the issue of age will come in.
You abuse your elders. You talk about bad about people in government. We'll deal with you. In fact, you might go out here and sleep in the EFCC. So, but I said this to you. What you say that you have, APC has smartly waited until PDP has produced their candidates. What should preoccupy APC's mind now is who can defeat the PDP presidential candidate. Now, the PDP presidential candidate was somebody who had election with our former president today. I mean,
and was a former member of APC
and was a former member of APC, one of us before. And now he's the presidential candidate. And he put sufficient vote. And the question is, who is that man now who can pull the same kind of vote like Buhari to be able to defeat this person. That is what should preoccupy APC mind. Anything outside this that goes with sentiments is a failure on our side. And this is what you should know. Who is that Nigerian that can catch the number of votes from the north? Because the only thing the PDP is priding themselves, their strategy, is to pull the vote from the north. That's the truth. And you might not have President Buhari again to run the election, because most people that won APC ticket in the north did so because of President Muhammad Buhari. So people wrote on popularity of President Muhammad Buhari. And as the president who has done for 8 years with his challenges, you might not have that pooling of vote anymore. Neither is he running an election anymore. So you have a challenge. So you have to look for who is that man who the north can look at and give him vote.
And you think that man is Rochas Okorocha? And
Rochas Okorocha is, and bet me. And I said to you.
And what makes you think so?
Okay, what makes me think so is that one, I'm more acceptable in the north than anywhere. I'm a darling of the north. I have a relationship with the north. If I run for election in Adamawa State today, Vice President Atiku will sweat for a defeat. And you might not believe it, because I could show what I've done in Adamawa. And I challenge anybody in this country to show me what we have done in the northern part of this country. There's something to say Rochas in the north. The north will tell you, look, I saw their children not going to school, widows crying, and I provide education for more than 25 years. There's something to show.
So the north is more comfortable with the Rochas Okorocha?
They are, because even the story there is, if some of my brothers who are against, who want to be said, if you give Rochas a president, he still remain in the north. He has not moved to the south because of my relationship with the north.
Of course,
and during the campaign, I'll mount the restroom and I'll communicate to my people of the north in our local language. None of them from the south can do that. You can speak
Hausa very well.
Well, speak Hausa is my language.
As we try to round off this conversation, Rochas, we've heard President Muhammad Buhari saying that he wants to be given the opportunity to select his successor, because the governors have done that. Why is it that incumbents are always interested in doing that? I mean, you as a former governor too also tried to get someone as a successor to succeed you. And don't you think that may affect your own chances?
No. I think whenever you see President Buhari sound that way, it means he's tired of pressure from different mouths, different people, governors, senators, businessmen, brothers, sisters. Do this, do this, do this, do this. He's getting confused. Please allow me to make my input. I think what he meant to say is that allow me to make an input of my assessment of people. Then you people can now decide who should be the president. President Muhammad Buhari is a Democrat, if you know him very well. He's a Democrat. And he likes to listen and take the last minute decision after consultation. What he says, so the easy way to ease people out is allow me now to make input. After all, you made your own input, let me make my own input. But you know what will guide Buhari? Because I might not be the candidate of presidency or candidate of the elites. I'm candidate of the people, and I depend on God for what I do. But the point that Buhari will look at is that who will actually put this vote? Who can win this election? And if you make that judgment wrong, then it's a problem, because the only history now Buhari can live for democracy is that he left government and a member of his party won.
Yeah, and we are surprised that these comments are coming from Buhari after he had told the party members at the NEC meeting that there should be no imposition of candidates. That's what he told the party leadership. But doesn't it sound like Buhari is trying to impose the next presidential candidate of the APC?
Buhari cannot.
And will it affect the chances of the APC?
No, it cannot. Buhari cannot, because you know this in the world is a consensus. Consensus is a major thing. Now, if you have consensus means everybody will agree. So where would the imposition come? Okay. And if you go by screening, you cannot screen the quality of people that you see. On what basis would you screen them out? You screen person out and say it's not
qualified. Are you willing for a consensus?
Anytime consensus shows a family, but in a consensus means all of you have to agree on common grounds.
Very interesting.
It shows the family. I mean, it's good to have consensus. Well, if I look at it and you present your point of opinion, and I hear Ahmed Bola Tinubu say to me, "Oh, Rochas, you know, I'm the oldest in the family. I should be allowed to go. I've paid my dues in this. I must be allowed to complete this. I have limited time to achieve what I want. This is my life ambition." I listen to him. Wait, I'm coming.
Very quickly, so
you know, I'm a VP and I need to do this. I've gone around, I've mobilized people. And I mentioned will come tell me, look, I have been this. Then I can also present my point. I said, look, this. If all of us can reason, that's what's called consensus.
Okay. Just before I go, in 30 seconds, do you think a southern candidate will emerge in the APC? Or it's going to be a northern candidate?
the best thing for PDP, I mean for APC, is to the opposite.
Get someone from the south.
Go to not even south, go to southeast immediately and pick a sound candidate. One, you have neutralized PDP's idea for lack of equity and justice. The world will celebrate you for that. Number two, the sympathy will roll like waters for that particular zone, and everybody will join. Anything outside this will look like an imposition.
Interesting indeed, Rochas Okorocha. Has been a very, very fantastic conversation with you. I hope to have an hour-long interview with you next time, so that we'll, see all that's going on in the APC. And then, of course, by then the results would have been out. We must thank you for joining us on the interview.